welcome back to my channel. This is Nurse Akosia, and today I want us to talk about tips for taking the Nclex. So let's get started. So when we talk about the Nclex, you have to know how to answer the Nclex questions, and also you have to make sure that you know the strategies, you know what to expect as well, so you do not mess things up for yourself. Okay. Apart from the fact that we all have this idea that Nclex is difficult, yes, it is difficult. Depends on you knowing your content. If you do know your content, then it will be easy for you, or it may be okay for you. But then, as I said, you have to know your content. So the first tip is know your content, as I earlier started talking about. So know your content. In my previous video, I talked about knowing your content as like the number one thing for the Nclex. Also, you have to make sure that you know the strategies in answering the Nclex questions. So I'm going to give you all that I used, what helped me. And if you can watch other videos, or you can check on other websites to help you. But this is what I did, and it really helped me a lot. So when it comes to the Nclex questions with the answers, which is like MCQs, there are either 4 or 5. Mostly it is 4 answers that you have there. And out of those 4 answers, you will know that 2 of those answers do not relate to the question at all, or it doesn't make sense at all. But first of all, if you know your content, it will be easy for you to find the 2 answers that do not relate to the question at all. Then it will be left with the 2 answers that are actually related. That is where the problem is. So when it comes to the 2 remaining answers, how to choose the correct one also depends solely on your knowing your content. All right. But then with that, what helped me was Nclex. I listened to his audios, and it helped me because he actually explained. He made choosing between the 2 answers quite easier, but it still starts with knowing your content. Also, there is this rumor that the more select all that apply that you get, that is the SATA. The more select all that apply that you get, the chances of you passing is higher. It is not true. Seriously, I was in a group on Facebook, and they kept saying it like every time. They were like, when you get more SATA, when you get more select all that apply, it actually means that you are passing. It is not true. I had about 2 or 3 select all that apply, but then I still passed the 77 questions. So that is not true. If you're not getting any select all that apply questions, do not let that discourage you, because it may be that that is what they want you to do. We have our individual questions to answer. Do not let somebody's idea or information about how the questions are made to discourage you. Also, if you are getting more select all that apply, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are passing. So get that myth out of your head, because you passing the Nclex doesn't actually mean you're going to get more SATA. Do not look at what people say on social media, especially in those groups. I was following some of these information. Some people were like the pharmacology, apart from the select all that apply. With the pharmacology, lately they've been asking so many pharmacology, and you're going to get at least 15 and all that. It is not true. It is not true. I had only 1 farm, and that's it. And with that 1 farm, it was a calculation, and it was like the answer was, I could have answered that question without a calculator, but this is your life. So even if it's 1 + 1, you're still going to use the calculator just to verify if it. The third one is, when you read the Nclex questions, the one thing that will help you know the correct answer is to find the keywords. Okay, there are keywords that will actually help you. Example is the when the question is asked, you can be asked, what would you do first? And then what is the most important? And what is your priority? Like, for example, if you're given a CPR question, if somebody, you're supposed to give CPR, and you're asked, what would you do first? The answer to that will be different from what is the most important. Okay, so the first, like when it comes to CPR, if you are talking about the first thing that you're going to do, the first thing is to call for help. But then when you're talking about the most important, as in the one that will save the patient, you start with your compression. So these are the two. Look for your keywords. It doesn't matter if you're familiar with the question. Look for the keywords because that will help you answer the questions correctly. If you are in a rush to answer because you've seen CPR, and hey, please take your time and look at the keywords. That will direct you to the correct answer. The fourth one is, do not expect the test to cut off at 75. You will be disappointed. Seriously, you will be disappointed. And imagine anxiety plus disappointment. It's not going to have a good effect on the outcome of that test that you're taking. Expect the maximum. When I took the Nclex, it was up to 145. I'm not sure if it has been changed or not. It was actually done due to the pandemic. So it was 75 minimum and then 145 maximum. But make sure that you are expecting the maximum amount of questions, because when you get to 75 and you're expecting it to cut off and it doesn't, and you get disappointed, and then your examination soul leaves your body and then it adds up to your anxiety, is going to affect you a lot. So do not expect the test to cut off at 75, regardless of how well you think you're doing. Also, I want to talk about answering the questions. When I took the Nclex, honestly, we have our individual test to take, and yeah, it went well for me. My study buddy also passed, but she was like, it wasn't that, it was somewhere in between. So it depends on you. It depends on whichever questions you're going to get. But even if it's easy, go over the question. Again, go over the answer. Do not rush with the answering, because you might make a mistake where you're not even supposed to make a mistake. Even the easiest question that you get, you might make a mistake if you do not go over it. Take your time. You have so much time to complete the exam. Don't be in a rush to move forward and then make wrong decisions and get wrong answers. With the resources that I used SAUNDERS for procedures. Yes, I use it basically for procedures, and then I read a little bit about the cultural differences, the ethnic differences, the practices, and yeah, so basically that's what I use SAUNDERS for. It depends on what you want to use SAUNDERS for, but that is what I used it for. I always say, listen to your body. Whatever your body says to you, just go with that, okay? And then when it comes to the content, I use Registered Nurse RN, that is Nurse Sarah. That lady is amazing. She was my lecturer for the Nclex, and you can click above to go to her YouTube. And I have no connection or partnership with her, but I'm just trying to. I'm here to assist whoever needs assistance for the Nclex. I also used Mark Clemic for simplifying answers, and also simplifying, especially the psych form. And you know, when it comes to psychiatry, it's a little bit difficult because it's another specialty on its own. And then imagine adding farm to that. But he simplified it so much for me that even the farm in psych, it was way easier than any other farm that I studied. So that's what I use Mark Clemic for, and I listen to all of his audios. Actually, all of his audios helps a lot with the prioritization and everything. You should get Mark Clemic to listen to, and it will help you so much. And then when it comes to simple nursing, you can click on the link above to access the YouTube. I use this YouTube for farm. he makes it so exciting, and at the end of the day you actually understand because of the way and format in which he presents the pharmacology. And then when it comes to REMA, I use REMA Quick Facts. I did it with my study buddy. I use REMA Quick Facts. That was like a week to my date. I use it as a refresher. So she has some questions that you try answering on your own, and then when you're done, you can go through the answers to check if you were right or wrong. And if you were not, what I did was if I had no idea about that topic, when I'm done, I go back to YouTube to register Nurse Aaron, and then I watch videos on that, take notes, and then I go to the next one. And then I used UWorld and also the other Q banks, which is Nurse Achieve and also Archer Review. Yeah, the others. I use that for my questions to practice the critical thinking, to practice the Nclex style questions. And what you have to do is you have to practice a lot of questions, but then take your time. Do not do like a whole bunch of questions at a time because you're going to get so many wrong answers. Yeah, do it a little by little, like you can divide it into 20s or 30s, and it's going to help you. Um, or you can choose whichever one works best for you. Um, yeah, and also what I want to talk about is the NCLEX going all the way to, let's say, the 145 question doesn't necessarily mean you passed, and it doesn't necessarily mean you failed as well. Also, when it cuts off at 75, it doesn't also necessarily mean you passed or failed. Actually, when you go all the way, it's an opportunity. It's giving you an opportunity to pass. But if it cuts off at 75 or 76, 77, that's where you should be worried, because it's either you're doing extremely well or and then the most important thing, pray. If you believe in prayers, pray to God. The day before I took my test, I was like, God, please give me questions that I do know the answers to. And it worked out for me. Pray and believe, you'll be fine. So that's all I have for you today. To my subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. And if you haven't subscribed, kindly hit the subscribe button. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.